Now I've been considering getting a palm stroke trim rotor for a little while now. However, I don't really want to pay £100 odd for something I don't know if I'm going to use a great deal. And if I am going to pay that much money, I would rather go for a cordless version. But again, I don't know if I'm going to use it. So one day whilst visiting my local Aldi, I walked in and found this palm router for £25. It comes with a nice and roomy Aldi branded bag, a guide fence, guide bush, micro adjustment guide, straight bit and a spanner. Oh, and of course an instruction booklet. This is a micro adjustment guide. It's useless. It attaches to the side of the base and a back screw piece sits over the router bit. But there are no measurement markings, so you would have to measure between it and the base of the router, then adjust the base. Far too complicated and time consuming. The far easier and less time consuming solution is to just push the base down and measure how much of the bit is past the base with a measuring tape. The guide fence attaches easily enough, but it's made from some thin steel coated with some black hardware and paint for a finish. But as you can see from mine, it's extremely bent and twisted. I could straighten it, but the best thing for it is to put it in a scrap metal bin along with the micro adjustment fence. What's the point in keeping a tool if it's no good? The base of the router is in two parts. It is attached with 4 screws, one in each corner. Undoing the screws allows you to put the guide bush in between these two bases, clamping it in place as you screw them back together. My guide bush does sit ever so slightly off centre. So the router itself is a 500 watt motor with a 1/4 inch chuck. It doesn't have any adjustable speed facility. Being cheap, it doesn't feel cheap in the hand, excluding all the accessories of course. And whilst holding it, it feels good in the hand. I've also used it on a few projects already and it's quite comfortable to hold with limited vibration. The clear base is held on with a flimsy metal clip at the front of the router. It does though have a depth gauge on the side of it. To move the base up or down, you are supposed to use this thumb wheel, but as with other accessories that come with this router, it's a bit cheap and poor quality. It doesn't really work, so holding the base using your hand to push it up and down is a much easier way I found to operate it. The spindle lock is nice and big though, but for one issue with me is each time you want to change the bit, you're having to remove the base to get at it, and this is quite time consuming, although it does allow for a good throw with the spanner to undo it. I've also noticed that after a bit of use, this metal ring gets extremely hot to the point I've almost dropped it a few times due to the heat it produces. Now I have had one problem with the clip coming undone, and I did actually manage to catch this on camera. And obviously this would be very disappointing if you were doing this on one of your projects. With all that said and done though, this tool really isn't a bad tool for the price. As you can see here from these clips, even though my bits are cheap and probably not the sharpest, it does make these cuts really well. Obviously with only a 500 watt motor, if I want to make a really deep depth cut, then I would have to make several passes to make it, but it does do it well. The router itself isn't too heavy, and I found myself since buying this router predominantly using this one over my old plunge router. So I hope this review was helpful to some of you if you were looking at getting this router, or indeed if you're considering buying a cheap router. If you did like what you see, please give me a like. If you didn't, by all means give me a thumbs down. Please consider subscribing for more weekly videos, and hopefully I'll see you again next week with a new project video.